You wake to a light that moves. It ripples across the ceiling in slow blue-green waves, shifting and folding the way sunlight does when it has passed through deep water. And for a long moment, you simply watch it, half dreaming. There is a sound beneath the quiet, a vast and gentle pressure, the breathing of something immense and patient all around you. You sit up, and through the curved wall beside your bed, the world appears, and your breath catches in your chest. Beyond the glass, there is no sky. There is only the endless blue of the open ocean and a school of silver fish turning together like a single living cloud. And far below, the dim shape of a reef glowing with its own soft light. You rise, and the floor is warm and steady beneath you, though you can feel, faintly, the slow rise and fall of the whole world breathing with the swell far above. You move to the window, and the city reveals itself. It is not sunk into the dark depths, but suspended in the bright upper ocean, a constellation of rounded structures hanging in the blue, connected by clear passages through which people drift and swim. Gardens of kelp rise in golden columns between the buildings. Light pours down from the surface high above, filtered into 1,000 shades of blue. And everywhere there is movement, gentle and weightless, a city that learned to live not on the water, but within it. You step out into a passage, and the air that meets you is cool and clean and faintly salt, richer somehow than any air you remember. You understand quickly why. The kelp forests that wrap the city are not only beautiful, they breathe, drinking the old carbon of a wounded age from the water and the air, giving back oxygen in return so that the very act of living here helps to heal the sea. You watch a person tending the golden fronds unhurried, and you realize they are not a worker so much as a gardener of the ocean itself, and that the whole city is a kind of garden, grown rather than built. A small craft drifts up to meet you, smooth and silent as a seal, and you step inside. It slips into a current of others, gliding through the blue between the structures, weaving past one another without ever touching, without ever slowing. There is no pilot, there is no waiting. You watch them move as one coordinated mind through the three-dimensional space of the open water, rising and falling and turning, and you understand that down here, freed from the flat grid of old roads, movement became something closer to flight. The city has no streets at all. It has the whole volume of the sea. The craft carries you down toward the reef, and you discover that humanity did not come to the ocean to conquer it. The reef below glows with engineered coral, vast and intricate, rebuilt by patient hands across generations after the old seas had nearly died. People move among it tending the living structure, and you realize the city's deepest purpose. These floating settlements were not an escape from a ruined world. They were the means of mending one, seeded across the oceans to bring the dying waters back to life, and the reefs blooming beneath you are the proof that it worked. You rise again to a wide commons where children gather in the blue light, and you wait for a school and find only wonder. One child shapes a model current in the water with her hands, watching how it carries warmth around a tiny ocean. Another listens to the long songs of whales passing in the deep. There is no teacher above them, no rules, no schedule. A patient presence guides each child along the thread of their own curiosity, and you understand that learning here is shaped around each young mind rather than forced upon all at once, and so it never has to end. You pass people as you drift through the city, and you notice their unhurried calm, the absence of the old gnawing worry. You meet the eyes of one who seems no older than 40, and somehow you know they have lived a century or more. The long life reached even here, beneath the waves. Bodies are tended quietly and always, mended before harm becomes illness, so that age became a long, open plateau rather than a falling away. And people spend their decades reaching for the next thing they have always meant to become. If this blue and breathing world is stirring something in you, a sense of the seas we might still save, take a moment to subscribe and journey onward with us. Every future we explore together is a reminder of what we are still capable of mending. The more of us who dare to imagine it, the closer it draws. Now, let the journey continue. You rise toward the surface, the blue brightening around you, until the craft breaks at last into open air. And there, you discover the other half of this world. The city does not end beneath the waves. Floating districts spread across the surface, rising and falling gently with the swell, their lower levels open to the ocean and their upper terraces blooming with gardens beneath the open sky. People move freely between the two worlds, descending into the blue and rising into the sun as easily as breathing. The sea, which the old world feared as it rose to swallow the coasts, became instead a place to live, and humanity learned to float rather than to flee. The craft carries you out across the surface, and you see how far the settlements reach, scattered across the open ocean to the horizon, each one a green and living point upon the vast blue. They draw their power from the sea itself, from the slow heave of the waves and the warmth of the sunlit water, gently and endlessly, taking nothing that does not return. You realize that the old fear of scarcity faded out here too. The ocean, once stripped and poisoned, became a partner that gives freely once it is treated with care. You return below as the light begins to soften, the blue deepening toward evening, and the city fills with a warm and golden glow that mingles with the last light falling from the surface. People gather in the commons and along the open passages to share food drawn from the gardens of the sea, sitting close in slow and unhurried conversation. And you notice the thing beneath all of it. There is time here. No one races toward the next task. Work exists, but people give themselves to it gladly because it matters, not because they fear what comes if they stop. You find a quiet place beside a window opening onto the deep blue, and you sit, and around you, the lights of the ocean city wake one by one, soft and warm in the gathering dark of the water. You watch a child press a hand to the glass and point at a great shape, passing slow and graceful in the distance, asking a question you cannot hear. And you watch an elder who has seen more than a century answer with a smile. And it settles over you, the meaning of where you sit. None of this was promised. Every clean current, every blooming reef, every gentle, weightless life began as something a frightened people once believed the dying seas could never become again. The oceans were nearly lost, and yet here you sit, 6 centuries later, living within a sea brought back to life by people who refused to stop imagining it healed. You lean back and look out into the deep blue, where the engineered reef glows softly far below, and a single thought stays with you as the city shines beneath the waves. This is what we became when we chose to mend the ocean instead of mourn it, and quietly, somewhere within you, you begin to believe that we will.